They say Detroit has ghosts. Not the kind that rattle chains, but the kind that linger in silence. One of them lives in the old Harper Elementary School, a red brick building that was shut down in the late 1970s. It's the kind of place that looks like it's holding its breath. Windows boarded, walls cracked, the playground long swallowed by weeds. Locals avoid it. Kids dare each other to peek inside, but no one stays long. They say the bell still rings every Halloween night, even though the electricity was cut decades ago. I didn't believe it, not until last October. I was working on a photography project about Detroit's forgotten buildings. You know, abandoned churches, old factories, those places the city left behind. When I heard about the school, it sounded perfect, tragic, beautiful, haunted. I got there just before sunset. The air smelled of rust and wet leaves. The doors were chained, but a side window was broken. I climbed in. Inside, it was like time had frozen mid-sentence. Desks scattered, papers still on the floor, spelling tests with names written in neat, childish handwriting. Then, I noticed something stranger. The chalkboard. Someone had written in fresh white chalk, "Class begins at midnight." I laughed at first, thought it was some prank from the local teams. But the air felt wrong, heavy. I kept exploring, snapping photos, my flashlight cutting through the dust. Down one hallway, I heard it. A faint giggle, then another. It sounded like children, distant but real. "Hello?" I called out, my voice echoing. No answer. Just the sound of small feet running down the hall. Tap, tap, tap. Fast and light, like bare feet on tile. I turned my light toward the sound, and for a second, I saw them. Shadows. Dozens of them. Small, child-shaped, flickering like candlelight. And then, silence. At exactly midnight, it happened. A metallic clang ripped through the silence, the sound of the old school bell. It rang once, twice, and then began tolling, slowly, methodically, like it was calling class to order. I looked up. The bell tower was dark, broken, but the sound, it came from everywhere. I felt it vibrate through the floor, through my chest. And then the lights came on. Not real lights, more like flickers of another time. For a moment, the school was alive again. The halls were bright, clean. I could see children sitting at desks, teachers smiling, chalk moving across boards. Only they weren't really there. They were like echoes of the past, repeating the same moment over and over. I stood there, frozen. A little girl looked at me, through me. Her lips moved. I couldn't hear her words, but I read them. "Sit down." I stumbled back. The desks were filled now, rows of ghostly faces, all turned toward me. The teacher's shadow loomed at the front of the class. She raised her hand and pointed, and the bell rang again. Everything flickered, bright, then dark. The walls started to breathe, expanding and contracting like lungs. The sound of chalk screeching filled the air, writing words that weren't there before. On the board, in jagged white letters, "You're late." I ran. Down the hall, past lockers that slammed on their own, past whispers that turned into laughter. The door that I came through was gone. Only a blank wall. Behind me, I heard the shuffle of dozens of small feet. Something brushed my shoulder, cold, light, like fingertips. And then, the bell one last time. a long, drawn-out toll that shook the whole building. When I opened my eyes, I was outside, standing in the empty lot, camera still in my hand. The school behind me was quiet again. No lights, no sound, just the wind through broken glass. When I got home, I looked through the photos. Most were normal, just decayed hallways and peeling paint. But the last one, it showed a classroom full of children, dozens of them, all staring at me. And right at the front, that teacher, her face pale, eyes black. Written across the chalkboard behind her in glowing white letters, "See you next class." Every Halloween since then, I hear the bell. Even miles away from that school. At midnight, one single toll echoing in my dreams. And sometimes when I close my eyes, I see that classroom again. The children waiting, the teacher smiling, because some lessons never end.